The peaceful war. Addiction is a hard thing to shake, waiting for your heart's next beat, subsisting entirely upon the previous one. Will the pulse ever come again? Waiting in agony for the momentary relief, provided by the next wave, the rush of feeling reverberating from core to extremity. In between it all, the longing for the next one was inevitable, yet, as was the thought, it could be the last. Somewhere, someone, perhaps somebody just like you. These images flashed through a person's mind, riding on a wave of light, just for them, encoded by the machine and for the machine from which it was born. A melodic symphony of meaning, carried not only by light, but creating it, the stimulus itself, a show to behold. As the distance between points forms a connection to before it even began, to where it has yet to be, this moment, elevated in time, as future and past crash into one another, simultaneously occurring at every point in time. That's it, everybody. Time's up. You can put your completed work on the desk here upon exiting the class. Rochelle was startled by the announcement and had forgot about the passage of time. She was so focused on the test and its importance that it was almost as if she was participating in an activity she loved and didn't want to end, pressed upon by a future commitment. But she was glad it was over. It was quiet around her, for the most part, as she exited the classroom. A few people were in conversation. "How did you do?" followed by a general explanation of critique and comparison of answers. Rochelle had no one asking her how she did or what she thought of the test. She didn't have many friends, but it hardly bothered her. At least, that's what she told herself. Pushing aside the heavy doors, it was as if the school was some sort of fortress, a shelter for her from a place in which she didn't fit outside its walls. She almost wished she could live within its walls at times. She could go to sleep and wake up in her favorite place. She had slept in the school once, a reward for being on the academic team, a warm reminder as she stepped into the weather outside. People always spoke about the smells of spring and the comfort of the sun, but she preferred the storm. It had a smell as well, and she could smell the tumultuous, swirling purple clouds above, the tension about to break upon a spiderweb of lightning trickling across the sky, the uncontrollable nature of it all, making her wish that she was huddled up in a confined space, allowing pressure to push on her, only the eyes exposed, watching with confidence the magnificence. An agreement reached to where if she hid enough, equilibrium between her and the thundercloud was just enough to enjoy it. Opening the door to her home, the noise changed. One, however, was welcomed. The other was disturbing, full of agitation. "Rochelle, honey, how did the test go?" her mom overexcitedly asked, as if the question itself was somehow a statement to smile over. "It went well," she said, trying to avoid further conversation. And this obvious probe into her life was uncomfortable, wanting only to go to her room at that moment. "Honey, come sit down. We're about to eat." Sacrificing the moment to avoid future conflict, she abstained from protest and seated herself at the table. "Joshua, turn that off, and come join us at the table," the statement from her mother, directed at her younger brother, who was obnoxiously playing video games. "But Mom, just one more level. I'm online with Sam." "This instant, Joshua, or you will be grounded from games for a week," Rochelle's mom barked. "Fine," breathed Joshua, as he said an unwanted goodbye into his headset, distastefully turning off the gaming console. Honey, this time not directed at Rochelle, instead, it was directed at her father, who was on the phone. Honey seemed to be her favorite generalized name for everyone. She thought sweet, but it only left a bitter taste in Rochelle. Hearing her mother use the word on everyone almost made Rochelle think she used it as a cover-up to hide her distaste for life with a sweet appearance. 1 minute, dear. I'm on the phone with the client. Start without me, he said, covering the microphone on his cell, ear still pressed to the speaker, intently listening, obviously someplace far from here. Joshua, would you mind saying the prayer? Her mother asked. The question had a sense of sternness to it, meaning it was more of an order than a question. I say it every time, Joshua whined. Not true, I said. I said it last time, Rochelle reminded him. Fine, I'll say it. Dinner was good, and like always, during the middle of it, she was glad to have given up some of her alone time to enjoy it, knowing that she would have most likely regretted not eating at that moment later on. She finished her meal and asked if she could be excused. Her mother responded with a yes, and with the added statement of, "Love you, dear." She walked away with the feeling that her mother actually was loving and happy, closing the door to her room and the rest of the world, choosing herself for the rest of the night what to let in it. Opening her journal, she started a new entry. War kept the peace.